Hello everyone. It is April the 3rd, 2017, Monday. It is day 31 of TowerGate. We do have breaking news today. Last night I noticed right around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time that Mike Cernovich was reporting that Susan Rice was the person who was responsible for unmasking, one of the people at least responsible for unmasking conversations between Trump and his team. Now it's being reported by Bloomberg, Fox, and many others, and looks like it has been confirmed that Susan Rice was at least one of the people who requested unmasking on Trump and his team. And it appears that this happened many dozens of times. It wasn't just one occasion, it was dozens of times. If you remember, I did a video about a week or so ago, and I said that when it comes to this unmasking or FISA warrants or anything like that, they keep logs of all of that. And I said if they go back and review those logs, they'll find out who would be able to go and request this masking or unmasking, I should say. And that's how they could find out who actually would even be in the area of the national security advisor, in and around him, the National Security Agency, the NSA. So this would make perfect sense. Susan Rice was the head of the NSA. She was the National Security Advisor to Barack Obama. If you remember, Susan Rice was the one who went out after the Benghazi event. She's the one they sent out there on the Sunday morning programs to say that it was about a video, knowing good and well that it had nothing to do with the video. So she was out there lying on the Sunday morning programs. She is obviously a hardcore Obama insider, and obviously we can assume someone who does not like Trump. So it appears that Susan Rice, on dozens and dozens of occasions, requested the unmasking of at least Trump's team. We haven't learned if it's exactly on Trump himself, but certainly Trump's team. And this goes back, it looks like it goes back well into the summer, and we know that this was going on before that. We know that this type of surveillance had been going on before that, and we have other evidence of that, as I'll be giving you here in just a moment. So the thing to think about here is that, think about this, Susan Rice only answers to one person. As the NSA, the National Security Advisor, there is no one between her and Barack Obama. Her boss is Barack Obama. She has no boss other than Barack Obama. He appoints the National Security Advisor, and she answers to no one but the president. So this creates a very interesting situation. If Susan Rice knew, then Obama knew, and in fact Susan Rice would probably not do this without being directed to do so, and the only person that could do that would be Barack Obama. It's very interesting that Mike Rogers at the NSA didn't know about this. We'll have to see. I'm sure they'll have him back for questioning to find out how it would be possible for the National Security Advisor to unmask dozens and dozens of times Trump's team and have the head of the NSA not know about it. That's very interesting. I'm sure we'll be learning more about that. But Susan Rice is in a difficult position because you are not allowed to give up the president. You are not allowed to do that. Everyone may know that Barack Obama probably gave the order and certainly had to know about it, but he has plausible deniability. He can say Susan Rice did it on her own and he didn't know anything about it. She has to be willing to fall on the sword for President Obama. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not she falls on the sword. She really has no choice. You're not really allowed to give up info on the president. So anyway, this is what we're learning right now. Susan Rice, definitely, based on logs, and we assume that Nunes has gotten this information, revealing that Susan Rice is the one who did multiple, dozens of times, unmasking of Trump associates during the campaign. Now, should be also noted that Cernovich says that Maggie Haberman, a journalist, a reporter, so-called journalist reporter for the New York Times, has had this story for at least 2 to 3 days and sat on it. Who's Maggie Haberman? Well, as I said, she's a anti-Trump, a Trump hater journalist from the New York Times. It is also, Maggie Haberman is also the journalist who is friends with Katie Walsh. Remember yesterday I told you Katie Walsh was fired or given a new position at the RNC because they suspected she was a leaker and that they expected she was leaking through her friend at the New York Times. Well, Maggie Haberman was her friend at the New York Times. So it looks like they got rid of Katie Walsh on Sunday, knowing good and well that they would be revealing this information today. And this tells you that Trump probably and his team probably know everyone who was involved in this, and that this is just the first shoe to drop. He's stringing them out and playing them along. Just as I suggested, Trump does know exactly what's going on. He knows who was involved in all of this. There's probably a lot more people. He's been allowing them to have enough rope to hang themselves, and now he's starting to take people down. He's allowing it to happen through the investigation that Nunes is doing, knowing good and well that the Senate hearings will be a cover-up. But apparently in the House, I guess with Trey Gowdy and with Nunes, he knows that he has some allies who will at least ask some questions, do some investigation, and maybe get to the truth. So this is what we're learning right now. This is very, very bad for Susan Rice, because if it turns out that these calls that were unmasked did not involve communication between a foreigner, someone outside the United States, a non-U.S. citizen, and members of the Trump team, that's a big problem, because this type of masking, this type of surveillance is when you are tracking a foreigner who happens to be on a call with an American, in which case you mask the American because they're not the point, they're not the center, nor is there a warrant to surveil them. For the foreign intelligence, you really don't need a warrant necessarily. They usually do get a FISA warrant, but it's not. You don't have to do it. The president can order it. Other people can order it. Certainly the National Security Advisor could order it. But if this turns out that there is no conversation between Trump team members and foreigners, if this is all just conversation between Trump and people on his team, or people on his team communicating with each other, that is a big problem and a big fat crime. And so it looks like Susan Rice, my guess right now is she is definitely lawyering up. This is all over the media. It appears to be a fact. Certainly Nunes has this information. Susan Rice. And I wouldn't be surprised to find out still that John Brennan and possibly Jay Johnson still, I believe, may be involved in this. But you can't go up any higher than Susan Rice without going to the president. There's no one between her and the president. So this is getting very, very interesting, folks. So this is the news of the day. There may be more as the day goes on because it's still pretty early in the day here, just a little bit after noon. So that is what we know. I should also mention one other thing before I go. Back in July of 2015, another video surfaced yesterday, which I watched, and it was with a woman named Mary Ann Marsh. Mary Ann Marsh is a lawyer. She's works with the DNC and various other Democratic organizations. She's sort of an activist, Democratic activist lawyer type person. She disclosed in a July 2015, she disclosed in an interview back in the late fall with, I believe it was MSNBC, that she said that she knew that they had been conducting surveillance on Trump and his people around him as early as July 2015. This was Mary Ann Marsh, a lawyer and Democratic operative, stating this. So now we're starting to get all this stuff coming out of the woodwork, proving what we all knew, which is that this surveillance has been going on for a very long time. There's many more people involved in this, but certainly the biggest shoe to drop and certainly the biggest name, you can't go any higher up than Susan Rice. There's only one person above Susan Rice, and that's the president, Obama. So anyway, that's where we are today, April the 3rd, 2017, day 31 at TowerGate. Susan Rice, one of the people, unmasking dozens of times. I'm sure there'll be more to follow, and I'll keep you posted. Thank you everyone for watching the videos, for subscribing, for giving me thumbs up, making the comments. I love it. Look forward to talking to you here again real soon, possibly even before the day is up, and we'll see where this story goes. Alrighty, y'all take care. Bye.